Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Great to have you here at 7 o'clock. Raleigh is putting limits on how you use your water. More confusion for people with student loans. And Ticketmaster gets an L in court. There's so much to talk about tonight, and we want to hear from you. So send us an email, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. That's our email address. We want to cover the stories that directly impact you and your family. So let us know what you want to see on the news. Send us your questions, your comments, your feedback. We'll try to get to a few at the end of this newscast. First up, the record heat in Raleigh today, up to 92 degrees at RDU. That ties a record set in 1941. But it's not just the heat we have to worry about. The drought is not going away anytime soon. Raleigh is imposing water restrictions starting next week. We'll get to more on that in just a moment, but let's begin with you, Kat, and what's next for our hot, dry forecast.
What's next is the new drought monitor. That's going to come out tomorrow between 9 and 10 a.m. So here's what you need to know in advance. We're in severe drought right now in the Triangle, and most of our viewing area, there is a small area up toward Rocky Mount, Lake Gaston, that's in an extreme drought right now. And as you go up, things get worse. So we could see an expansion of that extreme drought, perhaps even into the Triangle tomorrow with the new drought monitor update. We've got two small chances for rain this week. Neither of these is going to bring very much rain at all, and the heat's only going to make it worse. 92 today. We tied the record. It's been our first 90-degree day that we have seen in 202 days. So it's been a while. At least we eased into the heat without the humidity. It's 87 now at RDU and in Cary, 88 in Garner, 87 in Holly Springs, and 89 degrees in Fuquay Arena. Those small rain chances will come Friday and Sunday, and I'll have a closer look at the timing of them coming up.
So you talk about these small rain chances. What's it going to take to get us out of this drought? Like, what kind of storm would we have to get, or how many days of rain would we need?
Well, I think it depends, how many days of rain is tough to answer, but how much rain we need, that's about 9 inches in Wake County. That's a whole lot of rain. To get 9 inches of rain, that would involve multiple systems, and the multiple systems would likely come in the form of a low pressure system moving in from the southwest so it could pick up some Gulf Coast moisture, or a tropical system potentially. But even with those low pressure systems that could bring a washout rain during the day, I'm thinking we'd probably need 3 or 4 of them to come within a matter of 2 months.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Kat. Thanks. This afternoon, Raleigh Water announced they are imposing phase 1 water restrictions for the first time in about 20 years. We want to walk you through what these rules are and how they work. WRAL's Eric Miller is tracking this for us tonight live at Falls Lake, the source of so much of Raleigh's water. Eric, those restrictions go into place on Monday.
And Ashley, looking around here, you can really see why this is Lick Creek, one of the far fingers of Falls Lake, and you see water just barely trickling in here at this point. A lot of dry, muddy ground left behind. Of course, you take a look at some video from Sky 5, you can see there are a lot more dry patches out there around the lake. These restrictions mean that anybody who is looking to run a sprinkler on their lawn or on their garden needs to do so between midnight and 10 a.m. Houses with odd-numbered addresses should water on Tuesday. Even-numbered addresses should water on Wednesday. And these restrictions are going in place now, officials say, because the water here at Falls Lake has dropped below a critical threshold and done so very quickly.
And this is why we're taking this step now. We're trying to be preemptive in case this intensifies later in the year.
So what happens if you break these rules? Well, Raleigh Water does have 4 people whose job is code enforcement. They're going to be going around looking for violations, taking tips from the community, and also checking those water meters to look for scofflaws. Anybody caught breaking the rules will get a warning at first, but then we'll get a fine starting at $50 and going up from there.
Kat was just telling us how much rain we need to get ourselves out of this drought. So let's say things don't get better. What happens then?
Ashley, there are stage 2 restrictions, and we should say that those are very unlikely. Right now, the lake out there, it's at about 84% full. Things would need to drop all the way down to 60% full within the month of April. I'm told that is very unlikely to happen. Still, if we do get that far, if the water does drop to that extent, that would mean essentially no outdoor water use whatsoever in the city of Raleigh.
Good to be prepared, but glad to hear that it's not likely. Eric, thanks. And this brings us to an email we received in the 7 p.m. inbox. It's not so much a good question as it is a good point, actually. A viewer named Adam wrote in to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. I know y'all get a lot of emails, but you talked again about the drought tonight. Remember about the USGS report about the 1998 to 2002 drought. This one today feels like it is going to hurt. Adam, thank you for your email. And it's true. North Carolina has seen plenty of droughts in the past. So let's talk about a few of them. And let's start with what Adam mentioned, the drought from 1998 to 2002. Here's a quote from that USGS report that Adam mentioned. Drought conditions prevailed across much of North Carolina during 1998 to 2002. The drought caused widespread hardship and economic losses across North Carolina. Yeah, it wasn't good. In fact, that drought and the drought from 2007 to 2008, both were much worse than what we are seeing today. I want to show you. Here's how today's drought compares to droughts of the past. On the left is the drought monitor map from August 2002. On the right is the one from today. So you can really see there's a lot more dark red in the left one in 2002. A third of the state was an exceptional drought. Now here is today's drought compared to the drought of 2007. This was the map on the left in December of that year. I mean, look how dark it is. Pretty much the entire state was in a, quote, exceptional drought. 2007 was the last time Raleigh put water restrictions in place. They did phase 1, like we're about to see next week. And for a little while, phase 2 restrictions went into place. You heard Eric mentioned that we are still a pretty long way from having to do that. But here's what phase 2 would look like if it did happen. No sprinklers, not on any day of the week. No automatic ones, and not even the ones that hook up to your hose. You can water plants directly with the hose and with watering cans, but no sprinklers. Again, this is what could happen with phase 2. Right now, we are only in phase 1 starting on Monday, and the city will enforce those phase 1 rules. WRAL covered this a lot. In 2007, code enforcement officers drove around the area, making sure people were in compliance. They went door to door, issuing warnings. Hundreds of people were actually cited and fined. The city tells us they have 4 enforcement officers who will be out patrolling this time around, too. Violators will get a warning and then a fine starting at $50. The reason the city does this is really because it works, right? It's a deterrent. In 2007, 100 million gallons of water were saved every week during phase 1 restrictions. But one of the most important differences between the drought 20 years ago and the drought today is how much our area has grown. Remember, Raleigh's water system isn't just used in Raleigh. People in Garner, Knightdale, Wake Forest, Wendell, Zebulon, Rollsville, they use it too. And between 2007 and today, get this area has added about 600,000 people. So here are those phase 1 rules again, the ones taking effect next Monday. Odd-numbered addresses can water the lawn on Tuesdays. Even-numbered addresses can water the lawn on Wednesdays. There are some exceptions, like for properties using non-potable water or watering athletic fields, but you get the idea. Send us your questions about the drought. Email 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. This impacts all of us, right? Do you want to know more about the restrictions? What should the news be looking into when it comes to conserving water, or maybe the bigger picture here? Let us know, and we'll talk about it right here at 7 o'clock. All right, let's get to a story happening right now at 7 o'clock. In the last 10 minutes, we learned 2 people were hurt in a fire in Durham. Grace Holland is following this, all over this, in the WRAL Live Center. Grace, bring us up to speed.
Ashley, we've learned that a firefighter and a homeowner were hurt in that fire. They had to go to the hospital. We don't know their conditions at this point. I do want to show you some Sky 5 video that we showed earlier. This is of that fire as firefighters were working on it. You can see the smoke rising from this structure. We're not exactly sure what that structure is. We've been told there was damage to that. There was also damage to a car and some grass and woods that was around that building. All of this coming from the Lebanon Fire Department. This happened around 5 p.m. The cause of that fire is still undetermined at this point. And we know that several other fire departments had to get involved on this. You can see some of those fire trucks that were on scene there. We do know that a person was displaced from their home because of this. It is unknown at this point whether the Red Cross is going to be helping them.
Thanks. Let's get you caught up now on some of today's other big headlines. Here are 5 things you should know right now. Tonight, Goldsboro police say a man is in custody after shooting a woman, barricading himself inside her home and causing a house fire. Sky 5 captured the big presence outside of the home with police on Shelley Drive. The woman in the hospital is expected to survive. The suspect, who has not been named, could face attempted murder and arson charges. New today, a man is charged in connection with a shootout in a grocery store parking lot. This happened yesterday outside the Food Lion on Creedmoor Road in Raleigh. Police say 21-year-old Jalen Watson is one of the people involved in the shooting. Investigators say he drove away with a gunshot wound before crashing and later showing up at the hospital. New today, the family of a Johnston County Uber driver killed last year is suing the company, claiming they didn't do enough to protect him. His wife says the company's current policies resulted in the death of her husband, Emmanuel Beatty Sr. He was found shot to death in 2025. He was driving for Uber when he picked up 18-year-old Travion Brown, who is now charged with his murder. A major blow to Live Nation tonight. A jury found the entertainment giant liable for holding a monopoly and driving up ticketing costs for fans. The Department of Justice first brought the lawsuit forward, but announced a settlement days into the trial. More than 30 states, including North Carolina, pressed on with the trial. The judge now needs to decide what penalties Live Nation will face. New today, North Carolina lawmakers are moving forward with a proposal to give the state more control over property taxes. Today, a House committee advanced a plan that would cap how much counties can raise property taxes. The amendment would still need approval from both chambers by a supermajority. If it passes, voters could decide on the ballot, perhaps as soon as November. Monthly payments on student loans are about to go way up for millions of people. 7 million borrowers need to find a new repayment plan. But what if you don't have student loans? What does this mean for you? Let's talk about it after the break. Plus, Governor Stein signs a proclamation about an issue we really need to be talking about: Black maternal health. These problems and the possible fixes, and the push for awareness. Tonight, we hear from the North Carolina Attorney General. He and a bunch of other states are declaring victory after suing Ticketmaster and winning. Tonight at 11, we're going to be asking Jeff Jackson what today's decision means for Ticketmaster and for the next time you want to go to a concert. Again, that's tonight on WRAL News at 11. Millions of student loan borrowers need to find a new repayment plan. The Biden-era SAFE plan comes to an end this fall, and that means borrowers only have to pick their new plan. But as WRAL's Destiny Patterson reports, no matter what you choose, monthly payments are probably going up.
Unfortunately, whichever plan you switch to, you are going to see a higher monthly payment.
Kate Wood is a lending expert with NerdWallet. The education department will automatically enroll you in the standard repayment plan if you don't take action. That plan sets a fixed payment for 10 years.
That does not give you any kind of loan forgiveness. It's also likely to give you the highest payment out of any of these plans because the standard plan simply takes the amount of your debt and splits it up over a set number of months.
So, Destiny, people have to make a choice right now. And if they don't, the government might decide for them, and it might not be the best plan for their specific needs.
That's right. And I mean, the thing that people can do, they can use a loan simulator through the studentaid.gov website, and that can help them decide maybe which plan fits their budget best. But they do have multiple options. One of them launches July 1st. It's called the Repayment Assistance Plan. And there are two other options. One of them, the Income Contingent Plan, and the Pay As You Earn. But those two are going away in 2028. So you can see how all of this could be really confusing if if you're one of those borrowers.
Certainly, and there are lots of them out there. About 7 million people will be directly affected by this, and I'm wondering if there's a broader impact when you have that many people now getting what could be a pretty large bill on top of everything else people are struggling to afford.
I mean, that's a good point. Student loan delinquencies, they've now spiked 25%, and that's up from 9% in 2019. So that's a really big jump in the past few years. And that also corresponds with what we're seeing with COVID. There's been a lot of back and forth for borrowers. And as they're looking at the potential of their bills going up for student loan repayment, they're also having to decide maybe where to put their money. Do they put it towards the car loan or the house loan, or where should they put their money at the end of the day as they're seeing this deadline creep up?
All right. Destiny, thank you.
All right, we've got a whole lot about this over on our WRAL YouTube page and on WRAL.com. You can check out the plans that are available. You can also check out the deadlines to change plans and how much it's going to cost this year. Again, that's on our WRAL News app and our YouTube page. I want to quickly talk about a story that we've covered pretty extensively at WRAL. Today, Governor Josh Stein signed a proclamation making this week Black Maternal Health Week. It doesn't move money around or create rules, but it does start conversation. So let's be a part of that, right? Here are the facts. The state's most recent maternal mortality report shows Black women are twice as likely to die from pregnancy-related complications compared to white women. The disparity extends to children, too. Black infants were found to be 3 times as likely to die as white babies. State Senator Natalie Murdoch says a big part of fixing this begins in the classroom, adjusting what clinicians are taught.
We know that there was a time when in medical books, they trained those doctors that the skin of Black women was thicker, that we could just endure more pain. And those doctors had to use those answers for their test. So we still have to break through having better training, better curriculum.
Postpartum coverage in North Carolina through Medicaid was recently expanded from 2 months to 1 year. Like I said, this is something that WRAL has covered for years. Our doc unit investigated North Carolina's maternal mortality disparity. The documentary is called Critical Term: Why Are Black Mothers and Babies Dying? It's a really eye-opening, enlightening documentary. You can find it right now on the WRAL YouTube page. Just search Critical Term WRAL. So, Kat, a lot of this broadcast tonight has been talking about the drought. We've been getting a ton of emails to our 7 p.m. at WRAL.com inbox. This impacts really everybody. And this is this is serious. Stage 1 comes into effect on Monday.
And, it's significant because we haven't had anything like this in nearly 20 years, too. It's been the driest year to date on record at RDU. We are running nearly 6 inches below normal for rainfall. You know that we're in a drought. You know that we need rain. So let's talk about the next time we could actually see some rain. Now, that would technically be 20% chance Friday, 40% chance Sunday, but I'm talking about like actual decent rain chances. Somewhere in the April 24th through April 27th timeframe, we are starting to see signs of a wetter pattern evolving. That doesn't mean that it's going to rain all day, every day for this entire time frame, but somewhere within this range is when we could get some decent rainfall. Through April 30th now, so this is still through the end of the month. It takes a while to get it, but the European and the American models continue to show 1 to 3 inches of rain in Raleigh, and this is the second day in a row that those models are holding on to the higher totals. I told you yesterday the Euro AI and the American AI were much lower in their rainfall totals. Both of the AI models started to trend up a little bit today. It's not a significant jump in rainfall totals, but they are trending up a bit. So we're going to see if the AI models continue to trend higher and we get a better feel for and more confidence in that wetter weather pattern. Pinehurst Resort and Country Club, it's been hopping today with 90-degree heat. It was a beautiful golf day without the humidity. 87 right now in the Triangle, 84 in Wilson, 85 in South Hill, 82 in Henderson, as well as Lewisburg. It's 84 in Sanford, 87 in Southern Pines, 86 in Robbins, and 84 in Smithfield. The coolest spot is Goldsboro at 83 right now. The summer heat is with us throughout the week, but the humidity holds off. 91 tomorrow, 90 on Friday, and 94 on Saturday. It's really going to be hot to kick off the weekend. I had mentioned some small rain chances. I added a 20% chance of rain to the forecast Friday morning, and then Sunday is the better chance for rain. But those rainfall totals through Sunday night still looking at 1/10 of an inch or less. So I just wouldn't get too excited about Sunday's rain chances at this point. As we look ahead, though, that cold front that does bring the chance for rain Sunday will bring a bigger drop in temperatures. That's the more significant impact from it. We're down in the 40s for lows again to start next week. 67 Monday, 72 on Tuesday. Some beautiful weather, though, as we hold on to spring a little bit longer.
Yes, exactly. I know some people are really excited about the 90s, and a lot of people are excited to drop back into the 70s. Kat, thanks. Have you seen this mural on NC State's Centennial campus? I know it's been there for a couple of years, but it's back in the news for good reason. One last thing, and your feedback after the break. Tonight's One Last Thing is a little bit of old news with some new life. Have you seen the Artemis mural on NC State's campus? It's over at the Hunt Library on Centennial campus. It's pretty amazing. It depicts the Greek goddess Artemis, goddess of the hunt and the moon. The mural has been there since 2024, but this year it has, of course, special meaning. You see, this mural was first painted as a nod to Christina Cook. At the time, she was scheduled to be the first woman to fly to the moon. Well, 2 years later, she did it. A bit of a full circle moment for the art and the artists. We want to get to some quick feedback from you watching at home tonight because we got a whole lot of emails in just the last 25 minutes. Kathy asked, with phase 1 of water restrictions, does it mean that Tuesday is the only day of the week odd addresses can water? Kathy, yes, that is right. Starting next Monday, if your home is an odd numbered address, you can only water on Tuesdays. But again, this works. In 2007, Raleigh saved 100 million gallons a week using these restrictions. Sharon asked, given the drought and watering restrictions, shouldn't we also be cutting back on power washing houses and driveways? Sharon, great question. Not a requirement under the phase 1 rules, but this is the case under phase 2 rules. We didn't mention that before, so thank you so much for that question, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.